everyone. Here's another episode of Beyond the Locker Room. I'm your host, Brian Tull, and I have my boys here today. Ravi to the left of me, and also online on Skype with me right now is Eve that you've seen before. So, he's been with me some NBA discussions at the beginning of the season, as well as a little MMA discussion we had in the past. So it's good to have these guys on. We're going to get right into it. We're going to be doing our own prognostications of the East and the West. And we're going to start off with the first part. It's a two-parter. And we're going to start off with the East first. And we're going to go through each seeding and then kind of break it down and then move on to the next one. We'll see who we end up at the end of the finals for the East and the West. We'll have our results at the end of that. So let's kick it off. Indianapolis, Atlanta, the first seed versus the eighth seed. We know everyone knows Indy's problems at the moment limping in. Atlanta hasn't been pretty. So what do you guys think? I'll start with you, Eve, since you know.
Oh, for me, obviously going to go with the Pacers, but I think I'm choosing the Pacers in six. Reason being, defensively, yeah, the Pacers are on point. However, the point guard issue. If T can really dominate and do what he needs to do, he'll beat those guys. Beat the guards, but just basically overall, and Indy's the better team, so there's really no issues on that. I just think that they're gonna just lose 2 games to them, and because they've been crapping since they got into the playoffs.
Okay, Ravi,
I agree with Eve. I think it'll be the Pacers 4-2, winning that series. They split their regular season series, and I think out of all the teams in the East, I believe the stat is Atlanta has the highest scoring average against the Pacers, if I'm not mistaken. So, and given the Pacers their
issues
to close out the season, I think they'll give about 2 games, make it interesting. But I think they'll pull it out 4-2.
4-2. I'm gonna go a little bit more out there. I'm gonna say Indy in 7. I think for years now, historically, Indianapolis Indiana's had a tough time in Atlanta. They don't play well in Atlanta. Even last year, that series was a little more of a struggle than it should have been. And they just don't play well there. I mean, and right now, how Indiana's playing against anybody at the moment, they can put up points. To me, I would be scared of a team that could put up a lot of points on Indiana because their offense crumbles under pressure. And we've seen it time and time again. Late in games, they can't find a hoop from anybody. So and I don't know if they have enough right now. If they're so tired out, as everyone's saying, so taxed out. I mean, as you said before, Teague putting pressure on them. And you've talked about the point guard situation already. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they get a healthy dose of C.J. Watson in this first series. I would not be surprised. Because I think by the time this playoff series is done or playoff season's done, Hill might be sitting on the bench. But I'll leave it at that. So
I think he's a backup anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on now. The 2-seeded Miami versus Charlotte. I don't think there's really much to discuss here. I have Miami in 5. I give Charlotte 1 game for the home crowd, maybe.
Likewise.
Likewise.
I give him 5.
What about you?
I say Miami in 3.
3. My
only concern is that if Mushmouth will show up, if he's gonna be bringing himself up
folks,
to.
By the way, that's who he's referring to.
Yeah, Mushmouth, Fat Albert reference. But so hopefully Lockjaw will show up and not complain about knees and just play because I think.
I must admit though, everyone likes to tease Vince in this case as diva, but I must admit I think Wade is he's starting to move past Vince on the diva meter, man. Holy cow,
guy,
this dude, man. I mean, I start rubbing him down at halftime there, man, with something to get him back out there. My goodness.
Well, I never knew that rest was an official stat to miss games.
An official stat in
the dude's just like a third of the season. Okay.
On the coaches thing, it was DNP. -rest.
I saw that in the DeRozan stat the other night too. But okay, so let's move on to speak about DeRozan. Let's get into Brooklyn, Toronto. Toronto's the 3 seed, Atlantic champions against Brooklyn. Everyone's sweetheart. I think everyone's talking about is moving ahead in the playoffs. So Ravi, let's start this one with you. What do you think?
Again, these guys split the regular season 2-2. Again, it's not a homer call, but I give it 4-3. For the Raptors. I just think at this point, I mean, with Pierce, you can't go to him for long stretches in a game anymore like you were able to.
Mm-hmm.
Garnett is running on fumes. Garnett is just.
Is he even going to play?
Yeah, he's gonna play, man.
He'll play. But
hey, the more the merrier. The more he plays, as far as I'm concerned, the better. Knock yourself out.
Yeah, I think Garnett is just running on fumes at this point, and I
don't think he's in fumes.
I think a lot of. I see a lot of the predictions say the Nets have a lot of playoff experience. But you know what? It's that plays into a certain to a certain degree. But I just think the Raptors will, I think the youth will prevail.
Will overtake them.
Yeah.
What about you, Charlie?
Well, I was at the barbershop today. We have to get the opinions from the men from the barbershop.
Right. Down the street.
But for me, personally, I still am choosing the Nets. However, Brian, we've had a discussion about Mr. Casey for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So...
But really, against Kidd? Like, really?
Huh? Oh, no, here's the thing. Because at least they know. Listen, when it comes down to it, I just have this problem with DeRozan gets his shots. Thank goodness for that. He knows where he gets his shots on the floor. The problem is Casey still does not do the proper play calls from timeouts for me. And I think that you got to come up and get some points for. You got to make sure that you off timeouts. You got to call plays, right plays at the critical times of the game. There's only few opportunities, and I think that especially with how Brooklyn plays, especially with the four, they play long. They have the fours. They have they have some small forwards that play and do the 3-pointing, shooting, and everything of the sort. Mm-hmm. I just think that maybe the Raptors will have the size advantage, but Plumlee's been playing really, really good for the last couple of weeks, and I think that he might even be the difference. And the youth thing, I don't buy it too much, but I think the coaching is going to be the issue for me. I know I'm not saying Kidd is all of a sudden turned into the top coach in the NBA, but I think that he might surprise some play. He might do some things to win them some games.
Well, I'm going to go with Raptors in 6 because
6.
The reason why, here's my point. I think on this one. One, I think the experience thing's all great, but it's wonderful. It's good when you have guys who are experienced that actually can play. I think at this point here, I don't think Garnett's got much but a lot of barking with not much teeth left back. I think there's a lot of jawing on that case. To Ravi's point, I don't think Pierce can carry a series. Obviously he could a couple of years ago. That means it leads it on to Joe Johnson.
And Deron
Williams. And Deron and Darren, or whoever he's calling himself these days, Mr. Houdini. The
Mr. Bad Tattoo.
Right. So if that's what you're depending on, he never really shown me in this case he can get done when push comes to shove.
It's true.
Yeah, looking at his performance when he was in Utah, he hasn't done anything to this point to open my eyes to say this is a guy that I'll be scared of in playoffs.
Right, and the thing is too, they're like one of the worst rebound. They're arguably the second worst rebounding team in the league. So to me, if I don't see Valanciunas get 12 to 13 boards every game in the series, shoot, I will bench him personally myself. Like he should just be standing there and say, "Here's a ball," because them dudes don't rebound. So so I think between that and I think the only thing they have in their favor is that the schedule is going to be nice, where it's going to be 2-3 days between. That helps them. But when it's all said and done, they're a lousy road team, and I think the Raptors will hold serve. And I think this team here got a lot of toughness to it too. And I think the thing is with the Raptors, DeRozan's the number one option. And I guess in theory, Lowry's the number 2 option, that backcourt. And I think that backcourt could outplay, Brooklyn's backcourt. But I think the other problem they have is that if you look at how Toronto's built in this case here, the 3rd, 4th options, the guys come out every night. You don't know who to key on. One night Ross will drop 25 on you. The next night Vasquez is putting up 18 points. Or Patrick Patterson's going off. I think that's where I think you're going to have trouble with it, where they can't figure out where to kind of attack these guys from a defensive standpoint. And I don't trust Kidd. I'm sorry. I hear about Kidd doing his great job and stuff like that. Pretty much you had to put Pierce in there by necessity as the 4.
Right.
It wasn't like some great revelation. Like, so I don't, I question, Kidd's
if I can interrupt, in my personal opinion, I think that Kidd is basically using what the Knicks did last year, the same style. Because remember when the Knicks got themselves on a little magical run for a little bit in all those games that they were winning. It's basically a whole bunch of guys, a whole bunch of shooters plus a center.
One big and a 4, right?
Right, exactly. So that's basically what they're doing right
Which is
now.
Miami style and New York did last year, as you said before, and
Right.
and I mean, can they score? Yeah, they can score, but I don't think they're an explosive offensive team where
Correct.
the Raptors are fearing them from a standpoint of like you're gonna blow them off the court type of thing. Because I think Brooklyn's always gonna be one of those teams that will keep you in games. I think for the most part.
Yeah, and I think I think one X factor you kind of have to look out for too is the calls with the refs.
Well, that's what everyone's
That's
talking about. The
true.
city.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a good-
like obviously you got Pierce, you got Garnett. I mean, Deron Williams to a certain extent. These guys have a certain amount of equity.
Right.
With the refs right now, and I think late in games if that game is close, I mean, I can see DeRozan driving the lane and not getting a call.
Yeah.
Based
Yeah.
on just strictly off
That's true.
reputation.
That's
so
true. That's true.
something to pay
That's true.
attention to.
Well, I
Valid
think
point.
the two guys you gotta watch for that will really draw fouls is Pierce, of course. He's getting a lot of like calls like that. And I
Well,
think,
Pierce has that old man game.
right, which is
Right,
which
exactly.
is gonna put challenge. I think Joe Johnson, those two guys there, because Joe Johnson's gonna be a beast of a matchup to deal with. There's no two ways about that.
Right.
But I think if they could find a way in there, if they could get away without not having the double Joe Johnson in the series, I think the Raptors could be on their way to win the series. If they're forced to do a lot of doubling off of Joe Johnson, then that could spell trouble for them. But let's move on here. Let's get the last series, 4 versus 5. Chicago's the 4 seed. Wizards is the 5 seed. I'm looking forward to this series. You talk about contrasting styles. I have here Chicago right now I actually didn't put it down here, but I have Chicago in 6. I think Washington is going to have a couple of games where they're just going to run Chicago out the building type of thing. A track meet style. I mean, I think John Wall's one of those type of players. Ooh. Right, where certain dudes you watch from college that just like the bright lights. He's a bright lights type of dude. I like to say, man. he's like a ringmaster. Turn on the lights for the Big Tent. He's ready to go. So he's a dude. I remember when we was talking like a couple of days ago. Oh, Raptors want to play Washington. And I was like,
No, you
part
don't.
of me was like, I didn't mind that to some extent. I can understand the theory, but the only X factor was concerned me was I do it. Wall could just go off in a series in a short series like this, and I think that if for Chicago, I mean, like True Heinrich's a beast on defense. That's really gonna be the matchup. He versus Heinrich. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Nene's back, so they're a much better team when they have Nene. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be interesting if he can stay healthy for 7 games. We'll see.
Exactly.
He's only hurt like every 2 weeks, so we'll see if he survives it. But that's my point, man. What do you think, Charlie?
Me, I'm choosing actually the upset on this one here. I'm actually choosing Washington on this one. Just as you just said, John Wall, but I also like Bradley Beal. I really, really, really like Beal. I think Beal can go off at any moment. I also like, Ariza's been very good.
I was about to mention, yes.
Ariza's been very good this year.
Yes.
It surprised me.
And there's your experience.
Yeah, there's the experience. But the fact about it is as well, I just think that...
Championship experience. 2009.
But I just think that Wall's going to come and really do some damage. But... And my thing is with Chicago, I mean, Thibodeau's done a fantastic job with the team as usual. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, again, Rose hurt. Surprisingly, I'm surprised that the Bulls are healthy going into it.
Yeah, they're fresher than we've seen them in the last few years.
Yeah, surprisingly. So, but if Noah's been a beast for the last 2 months.
True.
So, but I just feel like Wall can really do some damage. First, I don't think Heinrich can guard him. You know what I mean? I think Heinrich's just going to just get crossed over a lot. So, so we're going to see what happens. But I think that because of Beal and with Wall together, I think that they can do something big on this series.
So who's going to be the first one, the over-under? How many minutes before we have a Taj Gibson, John Wall yapping session going on?
Oh, right away.
Right away, like in the first 10 minutes.
Like after they say what's up, and then they get into
it. First time Wall drives down the lane and gives.
Yeah, man. When Wall gets whacked a couple times, you know what I mean? He'll say something.
Oh God, that dude irks me to no end. He can play, but man, he drives me crazy.
Who Gibson?
He's a yapper.
Yeah, but you know what though? He ain't afraid though.
No, he ain't
No,
afraid.
he's not afraid. He's not afraid.
But
he ain't afraid.
He's one of them dudes that has a nice game, but has too much talking for a dude who don't have a game to talk like that.
Well, but you know what though? He needs minutes. That's basically what it is. Because now you can see the shift as occurred.
Really? He's a 40-minute dude or 35-minute dude.
He's a 40-minute dude, but if you see his stats though, He's just as.
but don't get fancy mode on me, man. You know how
I'm not saying fancy mode. I'm just telling you just the numbers that they are.
dudes expand to 35, 40 minutes. All of a sudden, dudes start drying up real fast, man.
Well, and I ain't saying they get in 30. Like I think that they play him effectively. They know how to play. They know they
Right.
give him about 25 to 30 minutes
yeah.
effectively, and they know because like he takes away from Boozer because for some reason Boozer just
reason.
can't seem to.
You know why Boozer's on the court.
I don't know if it's
Bad
that
more defense
thing,
that
but-
he plays.
I think tonight is the first night I heard Boozer's name all season.
Oh wow!
Oh, jeez.
Wow!
I'm just saying.
Oh jeez!
I'm just saying.
Well,
Upset.
Nonetheless, I think I give it to Chicago in 7 games. I just think they have the horses to pull it out.
okay.
So
Okay.
All
I'll go
right.
with Chicago in 7.
7. Okay, so let's move on here. So now we got. Let's see here. Let's see. I guess we have Indy, Chicago. I guess for everybody. Well, you had Washington. So in your mind, you got Indy, Washington going ahead. Who you like in that series?
Oh well, at that time, well then I'm definitely gonna take Indiana at that time. But however, I just think that Washington will give them all they can handle. I'm not saying that Washington is this overwhelming juggernaut of a surprise team, but I'll give them Indiana and 6.
Okay. What about you? You got Indy, Chicago. Then.
I got Indy, Chicago there. I will. I mean, it depends on how many strippers Paul George gets pregnant.
Oh.
But
Or if he gets catfished.
yeah, I say Indiana in 6.
Indy is 6.
Indiana
I like Chicago in 7, man.
Wow.
I just think in this case here, Chicago is just a mentally tough team, and Indy obviously has proven they are not that mentally tough.
Especially if Matt Stevenson goes off acting like the fool.
Oh yeah, I mean you can see Noah chirping in his ear in a heartbeat and let that dude blow off. So
And then David West probably want to try to knock out Noah.
right, yeah, like I would love to see that series, man. It would be ugly.
I mean,
but
you would hope Bird would be in the locker room with these guys beforehand.
I can't help nothing when they get on that between the
Unless
lines.
Bird,
man.
unless
It won't-
Bird
it
comes,
won't,
unless
but,
Bird
I mean,
goes on
you
the
hope
court
he
with
would
them
kinda lend
20
some
years
words,
ago,
have a little bit of influence because
then he must be the coach.
Right. Oh man. Okay, so let's swing to the other side here. So Ryan, let's start with you. So you had Miami versus Toronto.
I got Miami versus Toronto.
Okay.
And I mean, I say Miami in 5.
Miami in 5. I got Miami in Miami in 6 actually.
Oh,
I think Raptors might get 2 games out of this. What about you?
Well, remember who
Yeah,
I
you're
chose in that
Brooklyn.
one.
So-
That's right. So I just think that, well, even though I can't stand Garnett with my life, I just think that he's gonna be he'll be so amped.
Mhm.
Like, you know what I mean? He'll probably be ready more for that. You'll see him
You'll
bring
take
his
it back.
fumes.
You'll take it back to '98.
see, but I think if it's Miami and Brooklyn, I mean, LeBron has history with Pierce and Garnett.
Yeah.
Trust.
And
Yeah.
I think LeBron's gonna go off if it's Miami and Brooklyn.
Oh yeah.
I think
You'll
he's
see
gonna
red.
go off.
You'll see red. You'll see red.
I still remember that dunk that
Right.
night. You remember that dunk that LeBron put on him?
Dude, it'll be beast mode,
Yeah,
guys.
I mean, if it's Miami and Brooklyn, let's get the yellow tape out and put it on the court.
Right, it's beast mode.
It's
time.
over.
It's over.
It's over.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's beast
yeah.
mode time on
Yeah,
that.
I think that Miami would again, it all depends on the situation with Wade. I think that he's the key. LeBron can do everything all by himself, but I prefer that
There's
Wade.
only 3 teams that LeBron goes beast mode on, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a dislike in this
It's now
league.
Brooklyn now, because it used to be Boston. It's now Brooklyn. It's Chicago. And it's probably OKC. After that, the rest of the dudes, he's like, whatever. Clippers, let's go get my triple-double, call it. Spurs, he had to generate some heat when it was. You saw what happened. When it got near the death, that's when beast mode came out. Because it's
Right.
hard to hate on the Spurs, right? Ain't nothing to fight with the Spurs about. But with those 3 teams, oh, heck no. You don't need no encouragement with those 3 teams, guys. It's
True.
straight beast mode. So that leaves us down. So you got Brooklyn then, you said?
No, gosh,
Miami. Oh.
Yeah, I got Miami.
How
I ain't
much?
crazy.
How much games again?
I'm giving Miami 5.
5. Okay, so let's wrap this up then. So we got Miami. So I think we have Miami. I have Miami, Chicago in my final in the Eastern Conference. You have Miami, Indy,
Miami and Indy.
and you got Miami, Indy.
I have Miami and Indy, correct?
Yeah. Okay. So let the Miami, Indy guys start first. So Eve, you want to kick this off, Miami, Indy?
Yeah, I think that at that time, then I think that it'll be the Heat in 6.
Okay. What about you?
I think for the Heat to win the series, LeBron cannot have an off game.
Really?
He can't have an off game at all because
Well,
I'm not.
I mean, you can say that through the whole. You can say it through the whole playoffs.
I think the other teams, I mean, he could have an off game here and there, and they can still get by.
Right.
But against Indiana, and provided Indiana is, provided their focus and they're playing well, LeBron can't have an off game for them to win that series because you don't know how much you can depend on Wade. If it goes 7 games.
Yeah, but you can say that again the series before though, man. Like,
With Brooklyn?
Yeah, I think Wade, because Brooklyn's gonna score. I think they got guys who can score.
I still think they'll be able to pull it out against Brooklyn, but I think against Indiana, he needs to be on his A game.
Okay. All right. You got Miami and what?
I say Miami is 7.
Okay. I went Miami, Chicago. I got Miami in 5. I think it ends up like most Miami Chicago series. Chicago plays them tough for about 3.5 quarters. Miami pulls away at the end. And ends up, and Miami probably had one blowout game in the series in there. And Chicago played one game for the Gipper type of things or whatever, win one for the Gipper type of thing. And, for Rose or for the city. Whatever. And they'll go home quietly like they usually do in the playoffs to Miami.
Exactly.
So we got the Eastern Conference covered. I think everyone here, we got Miami. So it's all said and done. The Heat are back in the finals is based on what we have.
Yeah, I think so. I just don't think the
Robbie's got more hating to do.
Yeah, it's not really hating. It's just I just don't think the Pacers have.
And you're wearing the colors too, by the way.
You're Miami hate this game. You're not doing the Pacers.
Look at the colors he's wearing though too.
It's subjective.
It's objective hate.
It's
I hate when there's a reason to hate. I'll hate.
Oh boy.
But I just don't think the Pacers have. I just don't think they're emotionally stable enough to go the distance.
Yeah, totally.
They're too fragile, and as soon as things get a little shaky, a little rough, it shows.
All right. Well, okay. Well, we'll leave it at that for now. Then, we just wanted to tell you guys thanks, and catch us on part 2. We're gonna talk about the Western Conference. Look for both of these on YouTube and on the Beyond the Locker Room channel. So stay tuned for us. We'll hit the Western Conference next. Later.
Later.